Yeah, see, this is going to be quite interesting, at least for me, because I know Prez does Dark Death Mountain, and I haven't seen a Dark Death Mountain run in a long time.
Of all keys?
I haven't seen anything Dark Death Mountain in a long time.
But he's going to do it for this match. He's going to do Dark Death Mountain.
Yes.
Yes, he is.
Yeah, he's doing that to make sure he gets the attack forward to take the RNG out of it.
Well, okay, that's quite an advantage if you can get that to work. Most people, I think, find that the amount of time that you lose doing Death Mountain without the candle and without the upgraded attack power makes it not worth it.
Yeah, I was talking to him about it a couple of days ago, and he tried doing Death Mountain with the candle, and he's so used to doing it without that with the candle actually was slower for him.
I felt that way when I first started working on all keys. I was actually weirded out by seeing stuff, and I was screwing up things that I could have easily done in the dark. It was very strange.
Yeah, as a new runner of this game, just seeing like I've watched your any percent runs and everybody doing it dark, and I'm just like, okay, I'm just gonna keep the lights on.
Yep. That's pretty much my thought on it. Although speaking of a bunch of any percent and all that, Insult's having lots of fun with some glitches right there.
Yeah, he's doing that any percent route. He did that at AGDQ last year, but he wasn't able to finish the run because he thought he soft locked it, but he was able to correct it later.
Ah,
that's right.
I think that's what was discovered. Right?
Yeah, he learned later that you could correct it, but yeah, he messed up something with the. It was in Glitch Town, and he walked past the door and then backtracked for it at some point, and that was not good, apparently. And didn't realize that it was going to be a problem until he got up to the end of the run and couldn't finish it.
Yeah, but either way, in situations like this where all this great, awesome glitchiness is happening, just being able to do it and know what's going on is well worth the price of entertainment anyway.
Inzult's pretty good with this stuff. He's done tasks of several different games. I don't know if he did a task on this one or not, but he knows mechanics pretty well in Zelda, especially to be able to do this run.
I don't know anything about the tasks. I can tell you the first person I ever watched do any sort of run of this game would be Feasel, so. Yeah, that was back when I would always play this game younger. I'm like, how do you beat this game? I would get through to Palace 1 and be like, how do you know where to go? And then I watch you guys just destroy these. Just like, well, I feel dumb.
Well, hindsight.
Exactly.
Now, Feasel, you've ran Zelda 2 for like a long time, right?
Yeah, I started, I think, in 2012, 2011, I think. At the time I ran it, the only other runner for it was Arctic Eagle, the only other serious runner. I actually ran it because I saw Chum playing it and doing Death Mountain in the dark. And I also was interested in Death Mountain in the dark because I saw it in Arctic's run. And that was actually the first thing I learned. I had no intention whatsoever of speedrunning the game. I just wanted to be able to do Death Mountain in the dark. So I was just streaming save state practice of Death Mountain. And eventually I was like, fine, I guess I'll learn the game. And then it all just went downhill from there.
Downhill.
Alright, we have just got the 30-second warning, so we're going to be starting here momentarily.
Alright, yeah, let me know. I don't have the thing up, so can you just let me know when it hits 6 on the dot? I don't trust my own time.
Which one hits 6? The
Is time.gov we're going to use?
I believe that's what they said, yes.
And that's it.
Alrighty, here we go. We're getting ready.
Alright. and we're going to use Insult's time for the... Or Insult's game for the audio, right?
That's what I found out. And 3, 2, 1, here we go. All right, well, welcome and good evening, everybody, for those of you on the East Coast anyway. We are here for another Zelda 2 100% All Keys tournament race, this time between PresJPolk and Inzult 2. I am the Green Leaf Effect. With me on commentary tonight is Cantaloupe.
Hello.
We are currently here on twitch.tv/speedgaming. A big shout out to Fiesel for restreaming this for us.
My pleasure, thank you.
Not a problem. So what you're going to see here is the first cave they're going to go into. This is the magic container cave where they're looking to pick up not just a magic container, but hopefully try and gain the random P-bag drop, which neither runner has managed to do. So the P-bag drop there is an attempt to manipulate experience point drops for the remainder of the game. However, there is going to be a variation between what you're going to see on Insult's side of the stream and what you're going to see on Prez's side of the stream. So Prez currently right now is in the trophy cave in the Tantari Desert. He is doing this first because he is opting to go get the jump spell and head through Death Mountain in the dark. And it looks like Insult is also doing early trophy cave. Cantaloupe, do you know if Insult's gonna do just get this early and try and reset his experience, or is he gonna continue the same way that Prez is going?
It wouldn't surprise me if he did do Dark Death Mountain. I know he's able to do it. It really wouldn't surprise me if he made this left turn at Albuquerque, and he does not.
Okay.
Or right turn, I should say. I get dyslexic.
Left, right, up, down, A, B, start, select, who knows?
But Prez is he's going to be going to Death Mountain in the dark, which if anybody on the watching this has never seen it, it's quite unique. It will ensure that Prez gets attack 4, where he needs it, and Insult's going to have to require a little bit of luck to do it. He's going to have to be killing a lot of enemies in the first palace, obviously, to get the P-bag drops.
Yes, so the experience points that we are referring to is that little counter up in the right-hand corner of your screen. Unlike most Zelda games, you actually have experience points to level up your abilities here. You have attack, magic, and life. What those are going to be is those actually will increase the amount of damage you can do through attack. The MP, it will reduce the MP costs for your spells through magic, and will actually increase your defense through life levels up. Speaking of that, the heart container you see in the screen that Insult is currently on is a required item. This is 100%, so what that justifies or entails is picking up all magic containers, all heart containers, all dungeon items, all attack techniques, and all spells. Leveling up completely to 8 attack, 8 magic, and 8 life is not required, nor is picking up all of the 1-up dolls in the game.
And also, it's all keys, which means they cannot ferry through doors. Oh, Prez just takes a death. But, so they have to get every key in the game to advance.
Yes, and when he says you need a key for all doors, that doesn't mean you can't find ways around them, like through things such as a ceiling walk, but you still need a key for every door that you pass by. So Insults here is in Palace 1, while Prez is still making his way through a bunch of dark caves. That cave specifically is the Jump Cave that has been named because you need the jump spell to get through it. So while we're seeing Prez here on the world map, a big key to this game, especially the 100% all keys category, is going to be manipulating your overworld encounters. What I mean by that is, as you can see, there are a bunch of enemies that will randomly spawn on the overworld, and finding ways to make it so they either A, you don't walk into them, or B, if you do it on road tiles, is a huge part of this game. What you saw Prez just pick up there was a note from the Manos Bagu. You go visit him in his cabin in the woods, and he gives you a note to give to the Riverman in the river town of Saria. What that note allows you to do is, by giving it to the Riverman, you are able to cross the bridge to get across that river that splits the town in half.
Sorry, go on. I'm advancing the video a little bit just so we're not spoilering everything. It looks like I had more stream delay than you.
Oh, that's
Should
fair.
be fixed now. I hope.
Hopefully, I do apologize for that. What you see currently is Link just entered into that random house that was empty. If you go over and check underneath the table, Link will say that he found a mirror. If you give that mirror to that purple-dressed woman that Prez just talked to, she will let you into her house, and you'll get to talk to the old man in her basement. What he will then give you is the life spell. Even in a... Go ahead.
Oh, I was just talking about... you go ahead, I'll continue with Inzult here in a moment.
Okay. I was just going to say what the life spell does. It basically is the equivalent of a fairy from Zelda 1, where it will refill 3 hearts of life, or in this case, bars of life.
Yeah. Now, as you see, Prez, he's after he gets through this town, he'll be going through Death Mountain in the dark. Well, if you don't want to go through Death Mountain in the dark, Inzult, he is on his way to get the candle, which in this Zelda versus Zelda 1, you get the red candle really, really early. If you want to call it a red candle, it's just a candle in this game, but it's red. But it will light up all the little dark caves, and you'll see exactly what's in front of you. And so you're going to see it in the dark first, and then you'll see Inzult head there much later.
Now, the reason that they are at Prez and eventually Insult's going to be heading through Death Mountain is because hidden at the very end of Death Mountain is an item that is required to get through some of the obstacles in the game. You have possibly seen, and you will see, as they're going through, a bunch of boulders on the overworld. These need to be cracked through use of the hammer item, which is the item that you get at the end of Death Mountain. Now, a thing to look for here as Prez is going through Death Mountain in the dark. As you can see in the game, a lot of the enemies have different color palettes. While the orange enemies in particular, those with the orange color palette, you will be able to see them even if you don't have the candle, just by the way the programming of the game works. And Insult's taking a death there on that orange iron knuckle that was guarding the red candle there.
Yeah, Iron Knuckles have an awesome fight mechanic. If you hit them in their visor, that's why they're taking jump swipes or whatever you want to call it,
Stabs.
Attacks. Yeah, we'll go with stabs, sorry. But yeah, jump stabs, and that's why they're able to hit them every time. If you try to fight them without jumping, you're going to have a bad time. Iron Knuckles are pretty crazy, and Prez fighting these Darias, or you can see the orange ones, but just wait until you can't see the red ones. They throw axes, and you can't even see those.
Yes, the red ones want to ask you a couple of questions.
Pun.
Pun! I'm not sorry at all.
Yeah, I think Inzult's going to have to get this fairy. Hopefully he gets a P-Bag drop, and he does, so he'll have... no, he's still going to be short a little experience.
He did do early trophy cape to try and set it. Wow, that's a second death in Palace 1.
Yeah, now, if either player games over, they have to go back to the screen to where they game overed on. So, game overing in a palace is not good. Now, Inzult needed 390 experience going down that ladder, or the elevator, to ensure attack 4. But he doesn't have that, so now he's going to have to get the other P-Bag to have attack 4 coming out of Palace 1. And on the other hand, Prez is just tearing through Dark Death Mountain pretty well, actually.
Yeah, it's kind of hard for us to sit there and call what he's killing because you really can't see him. Although there's another one, the orange sprites. Excuse me. But you'll definitely get to see a lot more of the enemies that are being killed when we go through with a candle a bit later.
Whoa, he's not even trying to get... Oh, crap. Oh, that's a game over. For Inzult.
Wow. Wow. The only thing about the game over here is, while it does bring you back to the start, because he still has to go back to the screen he game over on, it's still right on his way to the end of the palace. That's the word I'm looking for.
Well, since he gamed over, he's going to go ahead and get the shield spell. Since he's already down this way, he wanted to mess with that later.
Yep. Because you will notice when he paused the game right before he died, he did not have access to the shield spell because he hadn't stopped and got it yet. Insult in chat also saying he was trying to despawn the drop and that he sucks at Z2. So actually, because we're actually using Insult's stream for the game audio, for those of you who just saw that, I want you to go back in your memory banks for a second, and that Ganon laugh you saw there, it's not the first time you've seen it, because that is the same laugh that is given to Soda Popinski in Mike Tyson's Punch-Out.
Oh, really? I did not know that.
Yes, and if you also take a look, whenever you get an overworld encounter in this game, I want you to listen to that song, because that little when you run into the enemy, that little note is the same sound as an uppercut hitting from Little Mac.
Interesting.
Yes, the things you learn.
Now Prez is about to pick up the hammer, and he got a red jar, which gave him life. Well, he got the hammer in the dark, which is phenomenal. Now all the enemies he's killed will not be there on his way back, except for a couple near the entrance. I don't know the proper name. The bats or whatever they call them this game.
I think they're still called keys.
Well, either way,
they're aches in this game.
Aches. Okay,
aches. That's it. Thank you. Can't remember the name.
All right, BB, what's going on with Insults is he didn't get the 50p bag in the opening Magic Cave, then went up and did Dark Trophy Cave, went from Dark Trophy Cave immediately to Palace 1. He did not stop and get the shield spell before he went there. He then game overed in Palace 1, and on his way back to Palace 1, he picked up the shield spell before he went back a second time. To answer your question.
What was it? Okay, Prez has just got the second magic container he'll be picking up in the run. Now he's going to make his way out of Death Mountain, going in and out some caves. He'll have a bridge to deal with after this cave, and he'll be on his way to do some palaces.
Yep. So the place where you just saw Prez pick up that magic container, that is actually representative of Spectacle Rock from Zelda 1, which is the same place where you enter level 9 and fight Ganon. So that rock on the left that he smashed with the hammer, that is the remnants of level 9, and all that's left there is a magic container.
He tried to jump the orange iron knuckle again.
And so this is Horsehead, who takes a swipe at Insults and completely wrecks him with one swing. Horsehead is the boss of Palace 1 here. In order to kill him, you have to jump up and hit him in the Horsehead. Insults
his hitbox is really high, so he's doing crouch stabs for some reason, but if he just did regular stabs, he'd be hitting them a lot more often.
Meanwhile, you saw, as you're seeing Insults fight Horsehead, you saw Prez there stop in the graveyard and pick up one of the 1-up dolls. As I said, those aren't required, but you're going to see runners pick up a lot of them, mostly so they can use the mechanics of dying in this game. Not game overing, but actually just dying. What that's going to do is it's going to bring you back to the start of the room you entered and give you a magic and life refill. Now, as you can see, also, Insults is putting the stone into the shrine here at the end of the palace. What that does is, well, one of two things. One, you have to put all 6 stones in to enter the 7th palace, or the Great Palace. And number 2, it will give you all of the experience required to get to your next set of level ups. So you are going to see the runners do their best to manipulate their experience total to get the most possible experience out of a shrine at the end of a palace. Meanwhile, you see Prez in this cave in the swamp, picking up the medicine as he's picking up attack 4. Now, what the medicine is going to do is when he brings that to the town of Mido, there is a woman looking for some medicine for her sick grandchild. When you give her that medicine, you will then be given access to her house, where you can talk to her, I'm assuming, husband in the basement, where he will give you the fairy spell. Now, the fairy spell is it's probably the most utilitarian spell in the game. Having several uses. The biggest one meaning giving you the ability to fly, so you can access different pits and fly over pits and things of that nature. The other couple of things that it does is the fairy spell, when you are flying with it, you are at your maximum speed immediately as you start moving. And Insult's apparently going back into the trophy cave, forgetting he had done it already. So Insult's with a little bit of a brain hiccup there.
Yeah, he don't do all keys that often. He's more he's done a lot more glitched runs than the all keys. So he's probably a little, I don't know what's going on.
No, I think he is and I'm sorry, guys. As you can see, Prez is there in the town of Mido. He just spoke to the first of the two master swordsmen. That guy teaches you the down stab, which for anyone who's played any sort of Smash Brothers where that Link is in the game, you know how deadly the down stab can be. This is the game where it got its origination.
Yep, and it's quite one of the most useful attacks you'll find in the game.
Very much so. What the down stab is going to allow them to do is there are a bunch of different applications to it. The big one being when you attack something with your B button, the way the mechanics of the game work is every time you hit something, you have to wait for the full animation to come back for you to attack again. However, with the down stab, that restriction is lifted, so if you jump up and down stab and continuously mash the down button, you'll be able to constantly attack if there's something for you to hit. This is a technique known as the jackhammer, and you will see that put to use several times throughout the run. So this is the cave you currently see Insults in. This is what's known as Jump Cave. You've already seen Prez go through this candleless, and now you're seeing everything that Fap killed in the dark. I mean, Prez killed in the dark. Sorry, Fap.
Yeah, I haven't killed nothing in the dark.
Apparently, the chat over here on Speed Gaming though wants a Fap vape emote.
Oh, they can hear my vape. I'm sorry.
Sounds good. We'll get right on that.
Yes, they can hear the vaping, and apparently we are now the 420 commentary team with you vaping and me being Greenleaf.
Wow.
Yup.
Oops. Oops.
Awesome. Prez trying to set up right now is an encounter skip, and he does manage to get it there. What the encounter skip does is on the overworld in this game, there are specific tiles that have forced encounters on them. However, the way the mechanics of the game work is there's a bunch of different things that take priority over each other. One of those things that takes priority over a forced encounter is the overworld encounter. So if on the exact same screen where you get a forced encounter, you get an overworld encounter, the overworld encounter will overwrite the forced encounter, and you will get a much, much shorter encounter, which is what Prez did there to override the first bubble forced encounter, but not the one on the way back. So now
Prez is finally getting to Palace 1.
You're going to see Palace 1 here go a lot faster for Prez. 1, he has attack 4. 2, he has down stab. 3, he has fairy. But as Prez is making his way through Palace 1, Insult is making his way to the river town of Saria. And yes, we're not making these names up. These are actually the names of this town and also the names of a lot of your NPCs from Ocarina of Time. This is where they got them, guys. Panda, 18-minute bubble skip, a little slow.
This is pretty much trivial for Prez. This is like one of his, after doing, almost 18 minutes of hard work, he's got a little, 5-minute breather here to get through the first palace now, because everything's going to die in like just a couple hits.
Those
and Horsehead will will die quick.
Very quickly. Those enemies that you see Prez killing constantly that are running that have the little dagger, those are tin suits. You're going to be seeing those throughout a couple of different palaces here, and they're more obnoxious than anything. And the big reason that they are obnoxious is the fact that when they hit you, they take out or they take off some of your experience. So that has if you get hit by enough of them, you will actually end up losing experience to the point where you're below a level you already got. Trust me, I know. I've done it when I've played this casually. So the enemy you see Prez here killing rather quickly, that is a Doom Rattler. They're going to throw those maces in a parabolic arcing pattern. So getting underneath that pattern is going to be is a little bit tricky. We got to watch for the pattern and watch for a break in that. So welcome to Death Mountain in the light. So for any of you wondering all the different things that Prez was killing here in the dark, well, Insults now knows what Prez did in the dark. Yeah, I went there. I'm sorry. No, I'm not really. So as you can see here, now that we can see it in the light, Death Mountain in this game, instead of just being an overworld area where you walk through and bomb caves, is actually a interconnected series of maze-like caves where you have to go through the right path to get all the way through it. And at the end, as you saw Prez pick up, is going to be the hammer item. Now, the hammer, in addition to being able to smash the rocks on the overworld, the hammer also has a double function as an axe, because later on in the game you need to cut down a tree to get to a town, but we will address that later. Now, what you're seeing Prez now do with the fairy spell, this is the other application of fairy. Normally when Link gets an item, he will hold it over his head, proclaiming loudly to everybody that I got a thing. However, with the fairy, fairy doesn't have the arms to do it. Fairy just walks in, grabs it, and runs out like she stole it. Go ahead.
Yes. No, go ahead.
I was going to ask, do you know how much time that saves doing that?
A second or two, maybe.
Okay.
Yeah, you'll see him do that for as many items as possible. Cave hearts, magic potions. But yeah, it saves time over the run pretty greatly, you know, and when you're trying to inch closer and once you get to a time where seconds really matter like that, yeah, you need to do that. Seconds always matter, but when, you know, Prez's PB isn't listed on his splits for this route that he's doing, his PB is 122, but he's a sub 80. I mean, he's got 119. So he's, you know, that second will matter in that case for sure.
Absolutely, and that's just the level of skill that all of these runners have, is that finding these little optimizations, these little tricks that shave off a half a second, those are things that in the end, when it comes down to it, are going to be things that can be the difference between getting a PB and not getting a PB, getting a world record and not getting a world record. It's these finite optimizations. And this is Horsehead, again, for the second time. As you can see here, Horsehead going down a lot easier when you have the attack 4 than when you have attack 3 and you're looking to get attack 4.
Palace 1 is complete, and after this, Prez will... This is going to shoot straight down, bust a rock, and go straight towards... he'll get a hearth and go to level 2. Yep. Or Palace 2, rather.
Yeah. To actually address something we've been mentioning before, you've been seeing a bunch of drops here. We've been referring to P bags, and you've seen some red jars. Now, there are 3 groups of enemies in this game. There's the non-item dropping enemies. Basically, they do exactly what they say. You kill them, they just give you experience, don't give you anything else. There's the small 6 item dropping enemies. They have a 7/8 chance of dropping a blue jar and a 1/8 chance of dropping a 50 experience point P bag. And then there's the large 6 enemies, where they have a chance of dropping a 200 point P bag 50% of the time, or a red jar 50% of the time. Now, when I say big 6 and small 6 enemies, what I mean by that is the 6th enemy that you kill in that group is the one that will drop the item. Unlike in Zelda 1, where the item drops are guaranteed for every enemy you kill in a group, it's just whether or not you get the item. In this one, the drop is guaranteed, it's just the item you get is random. Meanwhile, at about 24 minutes, Insult's picking up the hammer, and Prez is now picking up the shield spell, which you're supposed to pick up long before you go to Parappa Desert. So that is the thing. So they will be doing their best to manipulate their 6 counts to get either red jar or P bag drops. Now that the experience has sort of made its way through getting to attack 4, for a lot of the big 6 enemy group, the runners are going to be wanting red jars more than the P bags, whereas in Palace 1, especially if you're doing it the way that Insult did it, as opposed to Dark Death Mountain, they're going to be looking for 200 point P bags in Palace 1. So this cave here to the east of the swampland, this is the heart container that Cantaloupe was talking about earlier. It's actually one of the things that on the normal route, because of the way you go around the world to do it, it can be very easy to just forget it's there. And there is another example of the fairy spell being used to pick up the heart container and move onwards. So after Insult just picked up that magic container there, you saw him go on the overworld and enter a cave and then immediately exit. What that's going to do is every time you enter and exit an area like that, it's going to reset your overworld encounter timers. Now there are 2 timers on the overworld. Do you know the mechanics behind the timers yet, Fap?
I'll be honest. It's so many steps, I believe.
Yep, one of them
I
is
don't know, dude.
Steps, and I think the other one is seconds on the overworld.
Yeah, the first one is time. It's based on when you enter the overworld and when the music starts, and the second one is number of steps.
Okay. Oh, okay. Yep, and that is actually going to come into play a little bit later when we get towards Palace 5, specifically. Insult's taking another death here on this bridge. He is having a very, very rough run of it right now. But as I was saying, the encounter manipulations, both the timer and the step manipulation, is going to come into play later on after Palace 5, depending on how the runners want to do it. Insult's making a stop off at the graveyard here to pick up the 1-up doll, which is going to give him a little bit more breathing room, but not much. Meanwhile, Prez is making his way through Palace 2, running into another Doom Rattler here. As you can see, that was one of the arcs you're looking at, and Prez getting a red jar drop there. Now, I didn't say what it does earlier, but what the red jar does is going to fully restore your magic. So a lot of times what people will do is if they get a red jar drop and their magic is close to full, but they need a life refill, they'll cast the life spell, then stab at the jar.
And yeah, Inzult gets the other 1-up. There's 3 overworld 1-ups, and I believe there's 2 1-ups in palaces. Or is there a third 1-up in palace? I can't remember.
See, overworld 1-ups, there's the...
I'm sorry, there's 3 1-up. There's more 1-ups in the overworld. I forgot. There's one in the swamp on your way to the hidden town, but it's pretty out of the way.
Yeah, there's the swamp right near the Valley of Death. There's the swamp here before the Medicine Cave. There is the graveyard 1-up. So yeah, there are 4 overworld 1-ups, and Insult's getting... Yeah, Insult's getting killed there again after picking up the medicine. So yeah, Zelda 2 not being very kind to, at least the all keys run, not being very kind to Insults right now.
You forgot you already got that 1-up going in.
Yeah, well, normally what you would do is you'll go in there and then pick up the 1-up afterwards. So I think it's just muscle memory at that point. At least that would be my thought. As you can see, Prez getting ready with the fairy spell. So he is making his way towards the item of level 2, which when you see it in no way, no shape, no how is representative of any sort of Nintendo product that they may have been marketing at the time. It has nothing at all to do with the Power Glove. Nothing at all.
But unlike the Power Glove, the glove in this game is actually useful.
True.
And on a little side note, I recommend if anybody has a chance to use a Power Glove, do it just to see how bad it is. Because remember, it's so bad.
It's really, really bad. Yep, so now you see Insults going down into the or into the upper level of this church here to pick up the down stab. One thing I do want to note is you just saw Prez jump and stab at a statue. What that statue is going to do is, at least in Palace 1, Palace 2, and Palace 5, there are certain statues. No, 1, 2, and 5 are 100% chance of doing it.
Oh, I got you. And 3's 50% where it can be an Iron Knuckle.
Yeah, so there are statues throughout the palaces, both Iron Knuckle and Horsehead statues that have a chance to drop items. In Palace 1, Palace 2, and Palace 5, if it has a chance of dropping an item, and there's Prez picking up the Power Glove, or the Handy Glove, there is a 100% chance that the statue will drop a red jar. However, in Palaces 3, 4, 6, and 7, there is a 50% chance of a red jar drop, and a 50% chance of the statue producing instead an Iron Knuckle. That is going to become huge a bit later when, MP manipulation becomes a thing. Specifically in Palace 4, where the most MP manipulation comes into play. And there's a wall jar from Prez. The wall jar basically just means when that enemy, which is called a MOA, died, it died in the wall coming down the elevator, and where the enemy dies is where the spawn happens. So
Inzult is apparently going to Palace 3 first, and he can't.
He doesn't have the glove.
No. He's going to find out really soon.
Yes, so what we're referring to is the Handy Glove that Prez picked up in Palace 2. You need it... yeah, Insults, what am I forgetting? Oh yeah, Palace 2, just typed it in chat.
Yeah.
Insult's having a really, really rough go of it here tonight. But the Handy Glove that we were referring to allows you to break the blocks in the game. Normally, the only way to break them is to have Link get a concussion by having them fall on his head. But with the Handy Glove, you can stab them and break them. And the glove is required to get through not only Palace 2, but 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7.
Oh, he took the detour on the... I do that mistake a lot too. I'll hold left walking out of the caves from level 3 and just end up walking into that forced, I guess, space in the graveyard. Okay, you did remember to go get the heart.
That is good. So Prez now making his way to the end of Palace 2, which is named the Swamp Palace, by the way, if we didn't mention that earlier. So I would like everybody to say hello to the boss of Palace 2. This is Helmet Head, or after you knock his helmet off, aka Howie Mandel. Yeah, Howie Mandel on Deal or No Deal, not the one from Bobby's World where he had the long flowing dreads.
Such a good show, Bobby's World.
That just shows how old we are. We remember Howie Mandel with hair.
I used to be able to do that voice, but I will spare you all from that tonight.
So I think both everyone here in the chat and those who will be watching this VOD in the future, thank you for that. And if you're watching this from the future, trust me, you want to thank him for that. Anyway, Prez getting the end of Palace 2 and getting the full attack level up. So he is now at attack 6, coming out of Palace 2, where not only he wants to be coming out of Palace 2, but also where Inzult wants to be coming out of Palace 2. So basically right now, as you see, they're basically sort of crossing paths in the swamp here. Inzult's entering Swamp Palace and Prez leaving it. So that puts Prez approximately about 7 minutes ahead, give or take. Is that about the length of Palace 2? 7-8 minutes?
I'd say something like that. I'd have to look. I'll be honest, I don't know that timing too well on the palaces.
No, that's perfectly fair. So we've already seen Insults partially go through this cave once, and now Prez is going to it. This is the cave directly south of King's Tomb. Now, how you're supposed to know this is there's a man back in the town of Ruto. That is the town where we picked up the jump spell. This gentleman is named Error. not to be confused with our own Error72, who is also in this tournament. Shoutouts to Error. When you first meet him in Ruto, all he says is, "I am Error." But if you go back later after talking to another NPC who says Error has some information for you, and there's the Iron Knuckle we were talking about in Palace 3, Error tells you that south of King's Tomb is a secret. King's Tomb, meanwhile, is that one cross in the graveyard that's surrounded by open field. So if you walk directly south from that, you fall into this cave, which will take you to the island that Palace 3 is on, the Island Palace.
And Island Palace is you get to see some new enemies in here. And there's another important item in this level they'll be picking up, and ironically, it's the same item you pick up in the third level of Zelda 1, the raft.
And it has just about as much usefulness in this game as it does in Zelda 1.
Except you get to use it required one time.
Right, which is you get to use it required one time in Zelda 1 as well. Oh yeah, so apparently I'm getting asked in the chat to get a quick recap of Bagu, so I will. Basically, real quick, we met Bagu earlier in this run. He was the man living alone in the forest. Now, Bagu is actually a mistranslation during the localization of the American game. There was a couple of just quick little fun Easter eggs that the Japanese programmers put into the game. The big things being they have the pair of NPCs, Bug and Error, which conveniently are two things that can happen when you're programming a game. Just a little fun anecdote there, but in the localization, Error's name got kept, but Bug translated into Bagu. Insults, meanwhile, in this lava bot room, yes, because the little blue gel things are called bots, getting killed again, so he is really, really having a rough go of keeping himself alive. Now, something... Jeeves, the Nosferatu reference. Is that going back too far for you, Pap, but Nosferatu?
No, it's not. And speaking of Nosferatu, we're going to go something totally unrelated. The blue Iron Knuckle kill with the jackhammer. Here's your first look at it. Well...
nope, there is not your first look at it.
Okay, scratch that, reverse it.
Oh, was that a Willy Wonka reference there?
Yes.
Excellent.
Thank you.
So as you can see there, Prez did pick up the raft that we were referring to. So that raft in this game doesn't... Well, technically the raft in this game also takes you to level 4. Meanwhile, you have Insults finally picking up the handy glove, which he now needs, and just deciding he wants to go pogo stick on the red Iron Knuckles.
Now, one interesting mechanic with some of the enemies in this game, they can sort of predict your movements with the D-pad. While you're moving, they'll move with you. And one mechanic, at least I use on the Darias and Death Mountain, is when I'm jumping into them, I'll release off the D-pad, then they'll walk towards you, and several enemies will go with that mechanic.
Meanwhile, as you can see, this being a guaranteed red jar drop, Insult's using it to get his life up to full and get his magic almost up to full. Meanwhile, then decides he's going to take a block to the head.
Now you just got accused for making a Bill and Ted reference by saying excellent.
Excellent, Smithers. Excellent.
Okay, now we went Simpsons. We went never go full Simpsons. And we went to a Tropic Thunder reference.
I'm the dude playing the dude disguised as another dude.
Now, here's the part that you would get stuck in level 2 if you did not have the glove, and thankfully Inzult remembered to go back and get it. So now he'll be able to get past the room Prez is doing in 3, because you need to do that to get through it. You need the glove.
And Prez is making his way to the end of Palace 3, where the boss here, this is Ribanak. So Ribanak is going to be the first boss we're going to be utilizing, or attempt to utilize, jackhammer strats. As you can see, they're going to be just moving Ribanak into the corner, wait for him to appear, and then Ribanak, you know, you want to try the corner strats, but Ribanak is being extremely trollish right now to Prez. This is a really, really bad Rebanak fight for Prez. You can't be too happy with that.
But one cool thing, though, he does have attack 6 in this fight, so that's helping out a bit. But, oh, Inzult forgot a key.
Yes, which key did he miss? I was watching the Rebanak fight.
He did not go to the right off the elevator, he went straight.
Okay.
I mean, he went straight down. Oh, no. Ooh, what a save.
Just enough magic for it, too.
Look what he's doing.
Insult's having a little fun there.
Yeah, Prez was the trick to get the jackhammer on Rebanak. You can stand in a certain position and get him to be on that left-hand side of the screen. When he turns around, he was just a tile off from doing it.
So Prez now is going to be making his way back through the cave to the island palace and make his way over to the raft. What he's now going to be making his way is to the eastern side of the continent here. And the eastern side of the continent, the first thing we're going to be taking care of is getting Palace 4 out of the way. But Palace 4 tends to be a bit of a troll, especially if you're playing it casually, because it's going to depend on which direction you go depending on what happens. So the first thing they're going to pick up is they're going to pick up Prez is going to pick up the fire spell. Well, he can do it after level 5, but it looks like he's going to be picking it up now.
The most useless spell in the game that's not used at all, and you'll notice the method he picks it up is quite comical. There's a lady you talk to coming out of the house. She requests that she needs some water. Well, not even, I would say, 60 pixels from her is a water fountain. And you guess it, you must talk to the water fountain to get the water, take it back to her, because she is the laziest NPC in the game and did not want to walk and get her own water.
You took the rant right away from me, and I love it. Now, the fire spell does actually have some uses in-game for a casual run. It allows you to kill a couple of enemies, the blue river Zolas, as well as the Tektites. Fire is the only way to pierce through their, I guess Chithin would be the proper way to use it. But that's what the fire spell actually does. So now that Prez has picked up that, and Inzult is going to be getting attack 6 at the end of Palace 2 here. What he's going to be Prez is going to be doing now, he's going to be heading off towards Maze Island. Now this is the part where the game gets a little trolly to you, because you enter Maze Island, you see as you're going to it, oh look, there's the next palace. So I know a lot of people, me included when I was younger, just ran immediately to the palace, didn't bother to say anything. The problem with that is the boss of the palace requires a very specific spell for you to defeat him. And you can't just get the spell, normally. What you have to do is you have to go to a specific point in Maze Island to pick up and find and rescue a kidnapped child. You then bring said kidnapped child back to his home in the mountain town of Darunia, which is all the way across in the other half of this world, of this eastern continent. Drop him off there, pick up the spell. That is the Reflect spell. Then you have to walk all the way back through the maze to get through Palace 4. So I at least know when I was younger, the first time I went through Palace 4, I got all the way to the boss, and I'm like, crap. And Prez there turning fairy and picking up the kid. So here's the question I have. You see how small this fairy is, right?
Yes.
You see how big the kidnapped child sprite is, right?
Mm-hmm.
How does that little teeny tiny fairy pick up the child?
Video game logic, don't question, move on. Next topic. Prez is getting a 1-up here, which is all 1-ups are little Link dolls, so apparently they knew he was coming around the game. It's like, hey, we'll put little dolls here, so yeah. Boom. And now he's going to walk all the way back across the left to go get the Reflect spell. Now, in this section through the little tiny desert, there are 2 forced encounters, and he wants to land on an enemy encounter on the same square that the forced encounter appears on. It's much quicker and much safer, because they're both escalating jumping screens. One has bubbles and one does not. See, that's how you do the skip. You hit the first one. You can pause buffer to try to catch the frame it walks on. which you might see him do here. Nope, yep, he did slightly. But he got both encounter skips going up, and he has to do that coming back as well.
So this is the mountain town of Darunia. Now there are a couple things that you're going to see here. The first one coming up is known as, well, after he gets a magic refill because it's required, is known as the Darunia Super Jump. This is a pixel-perfect jump that if you are jumping correctly, you, as Prez did on his second try, you jump into a specific pixel on the roof where you get clipped into the roof slightly. The game will then eject you slightly upwards, which is conveniently just enough ejection upwards to put you onto the roof to enter the chimney. How you're supposed to know to do that is if you click on the door, it tells you can hear something inside, and then as we walk further to the left out of this town, you will see that there is a building that is conveniently shorter than any other building we have seen in the game, which tells you I can probably jump on that. This building Prez is walking in front of right now. So that is the upstab, the final sword technique in the game, and now this is where we're going to drop off the kidnapped child. So now
he's been carrying the entire time.
Yes. So I want you to tell you, Link is fairly agile though. He pulled off that super jump while having a child to worry about. Yeah. Link's a little bit
close.
It was very close on Inzult's stream. They're almost getting knocked into the lava.
And there's your... Oh, almost got the yak hammer. There it is.
Yep, but Inzult's now picking up the raft. Now, as I was saying, the Reflect spell, that is, again, required to kill the boss of Palace 4. What that does now, Palace 4 is going to introduce everybody's favorite 8-bit nemesis who's played any of the Zelda games ever, the Wizrobes. They got a bit of an upgrade in Zelda 2. Apparently, 6 years after being stabbed to death by Link in Zelda 1, because Zelda 2 takes place 6 years after Zelda 1, the Wizrobes discovered a way to be immune to sword damage, specifically the magic sword that Link is carrying. Yes, the sword Link has in Zelda 2 is the same magic sword that Link has at the end of Zelda 1. In addition to that, he also has the magic shield in this game, which is why he can block the magic beams of the Wizrobes when they fire it at him. However, the magic shield only allows him to block them. He needs the Reflect spell to be able to do that. Where is... Okay, I was going to say, where's Prez going? But
he was resetting the spawns.
Yep. So the Reflect spell, when cast, will reflect the beams the Wizrobes shoot directly back at them, allowing you to kill them. The reason you need this to kill the boss of Palace 4 is because the boss of Palace 4 is a giant angry Wizrobe by the name of Karok. I'm going to stop talking now.
Yeah, he went with you almost said Wet Wizrobe.
Wet Wizrobe, yep.
Now, there's this maze that Prez is walking through. There's a couple different ways through it, but the route he will be taking is the longest way to walk around, but there's a reason. There's hidden forced encounter squares. Going this route, there's only one encounter you will go through, so it is actually fastest, taking the longest way around this map. And right here's your encounter. It's very simple. It's not difficult. Nothing to jump in. He will breeze through this faster than, well, insert any joke you want. But yes. Now let's see if Inzult can get the kill on Rebanak. No, he is standing way too far to the right. How many lives does Inzult have?
I don't know if he's got one or two. I think he's got one. He was opting for pogo stick strats there.
Oh no, this is his last life.
Yeah.
He got him. Oh, that was
wow. Oh. Some severe beeping strats there, and he was basically a strong, stiff gust of wind away from dying.
Yeah, he was pulling fap straps with the beeping strats to beat bosses.
If you ever watch one of Fap's streams, that's usually what happens when he streams Zelda 2, right before the rage quit happens.
Unless I PB, and then I still beat it on beeping strats. But yes. But now, in Prez and the The Pals 4, yeah, that's what I meant to say. He's going to be using jump here to jump across this cavern, which you can make without jump, but it's just a lot easier and safer. Now, if you have full lives, you would see a lot of death abuses in this palace. Jumping in the lava to go back to the beginning of the room after going to the end of the room to the key. But since they've both died a couple times, I don't, especially Inzult, but Prez, I don't think he'll be taking death abuses in this area unless he has to.
Yeah, the death abuses here, well, there's 3 death abuses you can potentially take here in Palace 4. Overall, between all of them, they save about 10 seconds if you take all 3 of them. But most runners aren't going to do that. Really, you'll see most of the runners taking the deaths more so is if they need the magic refill that the death will give them. This is... Go ahead.
The deaths they save, I think, collectively like 10 to 15 seconds, if I'm not mistaken. I could be wrong.
No, that's about
Reps. Yeah, Rep said something about that one day.
Yeah. So this is the part you just saw Prez do. This is one of the other things when I initially played this game that I absolutely hated about Palace 4, is that you're taught throughout the entire game, and we'll get into the item Prez just got in a second, you're taught throughout the entire game that pits are bad. Because every time you fall into them, you die. In this palace, however, and in subsequent palaces, you have to jump down pits to progress with the palace. When I was a young child, that did not compute with me. Now, as for the item that Prez just got, those are the boots. Now, what those boots allow Link to do is basically they allow Link to go Jesus mode. When I say that is because they allow Link to walk on water. Now, sure, it's only specific tiles of water, it's only shallow water, but Link can still walk on water with them. Link gets all the cool toys. And there's Prez using one of the death warps. He'll be doing that to, again, get to the front of this room and, more importantly, get the magic refill.
Because he's going to work his way back to the start of the palace and attack the left side of it, and he'll need the jump spell immediately to get a key.
Yep, and there's the magic shield blocking some Wizrobe spells. As we were talking about that, Inzult has already made his way through Maze Island the first time and picked up the kidnapped child. Inzult's also missing the first encounter skip, so he's just going to choose to walk through this first screen, not a problem, killing a bunch of Octoroks on the way. Welcome to Escape from Octorok Mountain, Part 2.
Yeah. Now this screen is the pain because you got Bubbles, and Bubbles will knock you back to the right if you hit him, so if he's about to jump over and he gets bubble trolled, you will see him fall back. But he made it safely to the town, and he will be getting jump and not jump, but reflect and upstab. I saw him go jump on the menu, and that's why I said jump.
Yep, you'll also notice that Inzult has not stopped to pick up the fire spell yet. There is another chance to do that. As you're leaving Palace 5, you do pass right by that town, so that's when he'll be picking up fire. Now you see another chance here for the Darunia super jump. I believe, and Insult's getting it on the 3rd try, which is very, very good. I believe what I've been told is on the super jump, the first 7 times you try it, you are saving time. After that, it's just faster to walk down and do it the old way.
Yep, and it is a pixel perfect trick.
Yes, pixels being the measure of distance between color in the game, correct? I'm not too technical savvy on my terms.
It's a pixel, but so another jackhammer there, and these little nice when they do these crouch stabs. If you notice, they're cutting the blocks a certain way just so they can jump right back out, and it's very useful to get in and out of that section really fast. I recommend anybody thinking about speedrunning this game to watch several runs and learn that strat, because it will save you a headache in this game, because I think you do that 3 times for keys in the game.
So Insults now has just returned the kidnapped child and has picked up the reflect spell. And Prez, meanwhile, is in the 3rd and final lava room, where you would possibly see a death if he so desires.
Yep.
And yes, he is. That's mostly just to get the magic refill there.
But he's got the lives. I mean, he only took one unfortunate death earlier, so he's definitely in good shape on lives because now he will not take another intentional death till much later. And I love how Bad Breaks keeps pointing out that, man, I got my microphone away from my face. They shouldn't be able to hear the vape.
Bad Breaks has been in a trolling mood all day, so ignore him.
And we love you, BB.
We do?
Yes.
Okay, fine, we do. Pappy told me we have to, so we do. Meanwhile, as you saw, Prez setting up the Reflect spell for the end of this palace. And the specific thing is, Karok is a very random fight. The first hit on him is pretty much guaranteed if you do a Crookie, but aside from that, every other hit on Karok is random. Because the only way to damage him again is with reflecting his beams back on them, but the only way you will hit him is if he is solid and not disappearing when they run through him. So this is the most random fight in the game.
Wow, what a Karok.
Wow.
Jeez. That was beautiful.
That was a glorious Karok fight. It seems to me that every time I try and describe, when I've been doing this commentary, every time I describe Karok as an RNG fight, and it can possibly take forever, every time I do that, boom, sweet Karok, end of story.
Commentate on my race and you'll see what happens.
I did commentate on your race.
Oh, and it didn't happen.
It didn't happen.
So, commentate on my race again, please.
So as you can see, Prez is going into Palace 5 first, and this is what I was referring to earlier when we were talking about the encounter manipulation. Prez is setting up for something coming out of Palace 5 known as the River Dance, and this is a very specific encounter manipulation that is going to manipulate both the steps encounter and the timer encounter, so that on your way to the River Demon, which is at the end of Palace 5, on your way to Palace 6, you get a specific set of encounters to skip a forced encounter tile and a couple other things there. So we will see that hopefully when Prez gets out. Now this room that he just ferried through, it's required to ferry through this room, but the problem is as a ferry you can't grab keys, so you have to ferry through, stop, come back, and pick up the key. Now I have seen several runners forget to pick up that key as they go through there, and they'll get to the upcoming door and be like, crap, I gotta go back. So would that probably be the most forgotten key in this game?
Yes, it is. In fact, in my first race with Scav, when his console crashed, I was going through that area, and I did forget the key, and thankfully I looked in the chat and saw his console crash, so I was like, okay, I don't feel too bad resetting now.
Oh yes, I remember that. So Insults, as you can see, doing the jump off of the platform. This is the second... Go ahead.
This block room that Prez is in, yeah, it's you gotta wait for the one of the blocks near the key to get 3 tiles high to jump up and get that key, and it can take a while sometimes.
It is possible for a 2-block jump. I have seen that before, though. That's extremely skill intensive. However, that was a much better block room than I've seen somebody get.
Yeah, rub it in.
The blocks don't like you.
Nope, they don't. Thankfully, I'm surprised there's no blocks in Zelda 1.
Well, there are. You just clip through them.
Hey, exactly. To again, the revenge.
Yes. So yes, that's exactly what it is. Now, Palace 5 is interesting because this is the first palace in the game that is non-linear. And when I say non-linear, I mean for the fact that in Palaces 1, 2, 3, and 4, you had to enter every room in the palace to get something to get through. Palace 5 is the first palace that incorporates dead ends and rooms you don't have to enter in. And it also incorporates false walls. Now, there is an NPC that tells you there's a false wall there. A nice jackhammer by Insults, by the way, as he picks up the Jesus boots. But Palace 5 does have the false wall, as you see Prez currently walking through. Now, if you're not someone who talks to a bunch of NPCs in the game, you will never know that that false wall exists, because while there is an NPC that tells you, finding the NPC that tells you and all that, it's a bit, you know, who talks to all the NPCs unless you're playing Star Tropics? Now, the enemies you see there in Palace 5 that are doing the whole whiz robe, I'm going to disappear and appear trick.
Ooh.
Ooh.
Yes, he has 1 life left though.
Yeah. As I was saying, though, the enemies in Palace 5 that are appearing and reappearing and shooting fireballs at you, those are Magos. See, I finally got the name right, guys. It only took me like 6 races of doing commentary to do it. They are very similar to the Wizrobes in the fact that they appear and disappear. The big difference, however, is they are vulnerable to being stabbed in the face, like most good enemies should be. However, when you jump over them, they have a tendency to turn around at the last second and spit fire where you're going to land. So you jump over them, you think you're fine, then you land on fire and you get your tush burned. Or can I say tuchus?
And they spawn and despawn very rapidly. And that's another game over for Inzult.
Ouch.
Yeah. You can jackhammer through them. What are their names again?
Mago?
Mago? Okay, I'll stick with fire hags. It's easy to pronounce, but you can jackhammer and get 2 hits and walk through them without missing a step if you catch them as they spawn right. They're worth 200 XP a pop. If you need the XP, it's a good way to build up some and exchange for time sometimes.
So the item that you just saw Prez pick up here in level 5, while it looks like a bathroom plunger, it is in fact the flute. So in level 5 in Zelda 1 you get the recorder, in Palace 5 and Zelda 2 you get the flute. Plunger, flute. Anyway, it's a musical instrument of some sort. What it does here in this game is it's a very similar function to what it does in Zelda 1. It allows you to play a tune on it and get a big, bad, scary monster out of your way. In Zelda 1, it's Dig Dogger. In Zelda 2, it's the River Demon. And in addition to that, it also playing a lovely little tune on the recorder allows you to open up a dungeon. In Zelda 1, it's Palace level 7 at the lake where fairies don't live, and here in Zelda 2, it is Palace 6, the Hidden Palace.
And thankfully, an NPC does tell you about it as well, which the NPCs in this game are pretty helpful. There's several sequels with the number 2, and one in particular I'm thinking of that's a little off topic, Castlevania 2, where the NPCs troll you. But that's a different series.
Yes, but I appreciate a good trolling anytime we can.
Oh yes, true. Now, here we have the final key that Prez is getting. This dungeon has a lot of rooms that look like the room he's walking through right now. Low blocks and getting shot at and stuff. Now, this key right here, it's the only blue iron knuckle you kill that you don't jackhammer. Because there's no headroom. But he dies pretty easy if you jump and crouch stab.
Also dies pretty easy because you have attack 8.
Yeah, that too. It's only 3 hits.
Now, speaking of attack 8, this would be a good time to point out that 8 is the maximum level you can have for any of your 3 attributes, attack, magic, and life. But what you're going to see Prez doing here is he's going to get past the magic 5 and life 5 level up plateaus, and then you're going to see his experience point total is going to be 9,000 to level up to the next level. So in theory...
Over 9,000?
Yes, it will be. So in theory, you can get to 9,000 experience points and take attack 9. However, what taking attack 9 will do is just give you a 1-up. However, and we're going to get to that discussion in a minute because this is Boss Guma. And is Prez going to go? If he was going to try and go for the jackhammer strat on Guma, there is a way to get inside his hitboxes to jackhammer him. If you haven't seen it, I'm sure Bad Breaks, I know Bad Breaks has a video of it, and I'm sure he would love to post it in the chat for you guys to see, and make sure you watch it after you're done here. But as I was saying, and it looks like Prez is going to go and get another 60 experience to get his encounter up so we can get to the 9,000 plateau. And as I said, you can take attack 9 and get the 1-up, or you can use that 9,000 experience to take this numerous levels of life and magic, which is exactly what Prez is going to do.
Yeah, he will. The experience will count up, and of course, like I said, you'll have the option of taking attack 9, which is usually a pretty common mistake by people first learning the speed run. It does happen, I know this, but he's going to level up twice his magic to go to 6. And I'm not sure if he's going to go ahead and take life 6 or not. It's optional. You don't really need to take it, but so he's going to get this heart, and then you'll see you'll see his decision he's making. Now, one thing you must watch out when leveling up: do not leave a screen while your counter gets close. Like this. Oh boy, that could have been a lot closer. But if you hit the level up screen, as you go off of the screen, the game will soft lock.
And now you're seeing a very specific set of movement here on these water tiles. Prez is going to be attempting to set up the river dance. So far, so good. I see very, very good manipulation on the river dance here. Blowing the flute here to get rid of the river demon, and did pull it off. So very, very nice on the river dance strat there, which allowed him to basically continue walking smoothly, no pause strats, no nothing, and skip the first forced encounter tile on their way to the hidden town of New Kasuto.
I don't think he got the skip.
Yeah,
he did. Okay,
yep.
The stream was behind. It looked like he didn't move down.
Yeah, it was very, very close. And also, I do want to point out that while we were discussing Guma and Riverdance and all that, Insults did in fact cast the Reflect spell not on Karok to kill Wizrobes, taking another death there in the in that room. Not necessarily too upset about it, because that is a room where you want to do a death abuse, but considering it leaves him with only 1 life yet again, he can't be too happy there.
Now, Prez will walk on this bridge, walk out, then up here you'll see him go into the swamp and walk out. He's doing a manipulation to avoid all encounters up here, which is very difficult to do. In the forest, when you're walking through, the encounters will spawn almost directly in front. You see the difference right there. You have a square in between you and the encounters when they spawn, and only one way out. So getting 1 or 2 encounters is pretty common. You can get through the area encounter free, but it's very difficult, and that's what he was trying to do by walking onto the bridge and then walking into the swamp. Now here comes the hidden town. What's the name of the town again? Help me out.
New Kasuto.
Yeah, New Kasuto. Old Kasuto, it gets abandoned. But so this is a New Kasuto. Well, to find it, you take a hammer to chop down a bunch of the forest. Yeah, Paul Bunny, eat your heart out. He does it with a hammer. So in this town, there's 3 things he will be getting. First, he will begin the spell. It's a spell, and it's called spell. So hence spell. And it's required to beat the game on this route, and most routes it's not glitched, because at the end of the town you're going to see an area with nothing in it at all. I mean, just no NPCs, no buildings to go in. Well, he tells you to remember this magic word for a reason, and the reason will be very prevalent here in a moment. It will spawn a gigantic mystery tower out of nowhere, and inside is the magic key. So you don't have to worry about keys no more, even though you still encounter several locked doors.
Yeah, the third item in this town is a magic container, the final magic container in the game. And to answer your question from earlier, S-P-E-L-L. There, I spelled spell.
And also the chat is also doing the exact same thing, spelling spell. I apologize for nothing. But
Same here.
Yeah, but you saw Prez there go fairy to pick up the magic key, and there's 2 reasons for that here. 1, it is infinitely faster. 2, the final item they're picking up here in New Kasuto is a magic container. Now what that does when you get it is, in addition to give you an extra bar of magic, it also fully refills your magic. So by going fairy here, it's slightly faster, and it's basically free. So So from here, New Kasuto, we're going to be making our way to the final palace of the game, the Hidden Palace. The Hidden Palace, in order to get there, as I was saying earlier in Palace 5, you need to blow the flute. And Insults forgot the fairy key.
Yep. He sure did.
So Insults is going to have to go back and pick up the key that we were referring to earlier. Now, as I was saying, you have to blow the recorder, flute, whatever you want to call it, the plunger musical instrument to make the Hidden Palace appear. Now, it's very, very easy to figure out where it goes because there is a conveniently set of triangle-shaped boulders in the middle of, well, a desert that, are conveniently shaped, and there's one of two options. Is when I first saw it, it's either stand at the fourth point and blow and the palace turns in the middle, or stand in the middle and blow and the palace becomes the fourth point of the diamond. Well, you have to stand in the middle and play the flute because the palace becomes the fourth point of the diamond. So, doo-doo-doo-doo-doo-doo. Yes, that's the sound the flute makes. No, I'm not doing it again. Please don't ask. Welcome to Palace 6, the Hidden Palace, or Palace Magenta.
And in this one, there's he will be going to get a pretty important item fairly quickly in this palace, the cross. And what the cross will let him do is see invisible enemies, which comes into play later. It don't really come into play yet. But now these pits, this is an endless pit. You can just keep falling and falling for all eternity. Ooh, as Prez almost did. But if he would have fell there, it would have been a disaster, because after a few cycles, it will go back to that room, and he'd still be able to go this way. There's also an invisible pit too that he'll be encountering here soon. If he were to fall into it, it'd be disastrous. But it's blocking your way to the cross. So you'll cast jump here, kill this Moa, and one statue, two statue, three statues, second tile on the jump, and you're clear. Easy to remember, everybody.
Fairly easy. So, as Fap said, the item here is a cross, but in order to get to the cross, we have to kill an old friend. You guys all remember Rebanak, don't you? So,
and say bye.
Say bye to Rebanak. Oh, maybe not. There we go. Now we can
Hi, Rebanak. Bye, Rebanak.
Yes, Rebonak. Not to be confused with Reba McEntire, the country singer. I'm not sure if they're related or not. Anyway, I digress. Link picks up the cross, and how he's telling people, hey, look, I got an item. It's like the first time in the game on Press's stream that he's actually held it up since the very, very beginning of the game. So, everyone's got to have a little bit of swag posing, right?
He was hoping to get a magic jar from there, and he clears the pit. There's another nickname for that pit, but I'm not going to say it on here. You can read in the chat. Somebody has said it, Opus. I'll just leave it at that.
Thanks, Opus.
Now, I wonder if we'll see a ceiling walk from Prez. I know he can do it. I don't know if he's going to attempt it or not, because this is a good place to do it.
Yep, and the ceiling walk, if he does pull it off, will go to show that you still can pass by a door as long as you have a key for it, because we have the magic key. We can do the ceiling walk, not a problem, and pass over the door without unlocking it, because we still do have a key for it. Looks like he's trying for it.
Nah, didn't get it.
Didn't get it. But that would be the place where you do the ceiling walk, and we'd walk over that door. It would still be a legal run because you have access to the key to open it.
Well, yeah, and you've already collected all the keys anyway in the game, so it's sort of move whether you open or not because you have all the keys.
And that is the requirement for this run, is to collect all the keys. It's not an all-key use category, it's just a collect them all category. It's kind of like playing Pokemon and the keys of your Pokemon. Gotta collect them all.
Now, here's a fairy pit. There's 2 rooms that's required for fairy in this one. This is one of them. You do not want the magic skull face bubble thingies. I'm naming just that for the hell of it. You don't want them to touch you because they will drain your magic.
And as Cantaloupe said, you need 2 uses of fairy in this dungeon. The second one being the room right before the final boss of this dungeon, which we will address when we get there.
Now, if you missed Rebanak, you get to see him one more time.
So again, Rebanak.
And he's going for the quick kill. And he nails it.
Very, very, very nice Rebanak fight.
Now he's going to get ready for the fairy, and the little long dragon character you see in the middle of the stream setup, that's what we're about to encounter. That is Barbara, who's a very, very intimidating, but yet a pushover, really, unless you like to get hit a lot. He's pretty simple. His hitbox is his head, obviously. But we'll see if Prez goes for a jackhammer or not. No, he's going for the 1 cycle. Nope, he's going to do a 2 cycle to be safe.
And when he refers to cycles, basically it means how many times the boss sticks its head up and down. And every time it goes up and down, that is what's considered a cycle. So Prez getting the 2 cycle kill there on Barba, whose Japanese translation is, I believe, was supposed to be Volvagia. Which, I'm not going to lie, I like the name Volvagia a lot better than I like the name Barba.
Yeah, Barba. I don't know why I said Barbara, but anyway.
So Prez, meanwhile,
that's my West Virginia slang coming out.
Prez, meanwhile, making his way out of Palace 6 onto this bridge encounter, where he is going to be going to the final town in the game, the town of Old Kasuto. And Old Kasuto, this is the town that was moved into the forest. The reason is because Ganon's goons decided to overrun it. And that Moa, purple Moa that you saw Prez just stab, that is the first enemy in the game that you wouldn't be able to see unless you picked up the cross. So what you're going to pick up here is the final spell in the game, or as the game refers to it as most powerful magic. This is the Thunder Spell. Thunder Spell is going to have 2 functions. One, if you cast it on a normal screen, it's going to kill all enemies on screen, similar to using the Crash ability in Kirby Nightmare in Dreamland. Second of all, and more important to this run, is Thunder is required to make the last, or the penultimate boss in the game vulnerable to damage. So you do have to come here and pick up the Thunder Spell, and
No.
That's Insult's 3rd game over of this run. And I have to give him credit, he's still chugging along. But he's going to be making his way all the way back to the boss room of Palace 5, where that would be boss Guma, who Guma claims another run. What is it about speed runs in Zelda and Palace 5 claiming lots of runs?
I don't want to talk about that right now, but
is that a sore subject?
Anyway, well, Prez is in the Valley of Death at the moment, and there is a few forced encounters that are very difficult. So you definitely want to pass through them the best you can, which you get the first one right there. And casting spell makes them pretty trivial to pass, thankfully.
Because the spell will turn all the enemies on screen into bits and bots. Bots being the blue slimes and bits being the red ones. So for those of you wondering, you've seen the different tiles on the game. The tiles you're walking on currently here in the Valley of Death are lava. Dried lava, but lava.
Don't walk on the lava.
Hey, if we've learned anything from 8-bit Nintendo games, is walking on lava is fine. Did you ever play the original Final Fantasy?
Oh, yes.
Yeah, having to walk through all that lava in Gurgu Volcano?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I've played it a few times.
Yep. Yeah, loud go in chat. Yeah, the spell turns harmless monsters into awfully trolly bots. I don't disagree with that statement. So we are now getting through the final cave in the game, where we will be in a second here with Prez, not getting the encounter skip and choosing to go back and try it again because it is that... You don't want to do that one.
You don't even want to see it. It's not pretty.
No, it is not. But this is the final cave in the game, where Prez is then going to be making his way into the Great Palace.
And the beauty about the Great Palace, in a casual playthrough, your first time into it, you're probably going game over. It's very difficult. Thankfully, the game will start you back out at the Great Palace, and here is the reasoning behind this. This game was originally released on the Famicom Disk System. Now, the Disk System game had two sides, Side A and Side B. One side could contain your save files, the start menu, and the Great Palace. The other side contained the rest of the game. Well, whenever you'd get to the Great Palace in a run on the FDS, you would have to flip the disc. So whenever you die, they kept it so you wouldn't have to flip the disc again. That's why you get to start at this palace, and they left the feature in for this version.
How very kind and considerate of them.
Yeah, since they made a whole difficult game anyway, they figured it'd be a little nice to say, hey, you can play this palace over and over and over until your little heart's desire.
Which, it is well worth it, because, at least in my opinion, the Great Palace has the best music in the game.
It does. It's epic.
Yep. And I'm not going to say anybody's name, but I do know at least one person lurking in the chat has the Great Palace theme as their ringtone.
Nice.
Yeah. Not going to make any mentions of who that might be. Rep! Not at all. But
Don't surprise me.
No, not at all. Insult's, meanwhile, finally getting his revenge on Boss Guma. And just a quick little bit of information. The Japanese translation to English word of what Guma's name means is literally giant.
And also, if you play the FDS version, there is no Guma. It's replaced by a horsehead on steroids, from what I hear. It's what Prez said earlier. They changed that fight completely.
Horsehead on steroids. Would that be Moosehead?
Oh, no, not Horsehead. I'm sorry. Helmet. The second boss.
Oh, Howie Mandel on steroids.
Yes.
Okay, so, yes. I'm trying to think of big, jacked, bald guys. Can we call him Goldberg?
Gilberg.
Gilberg! Fair enough. And now we're going into wrestling territory. We have degenerated thoroughly.
That'd be a perfect time for my John Cena button.
This is why we're glad you have no control of the stream.
I wouldn't do it during a race, you know that.
I've seen you do it during your races.
Yeah, on my stream.
Anyway, Insults is now, after he's finally made his way through Palace 5, he is finally stopping to pick up the Fire spell. Which he did not stop and pick up on his way up. This magic will make your sword shoot fire.
Now, these enemies that Prez has just passed down, I'm probably going to pronounce this name wrong, and I don't mean to, but they're called Focus, I believe. I don't want to try to pronounce that name another way for some reason, so we're just going to go with that. They very unpredictable, and they will drain your health.
Yeah, we refer to them as Bluebird Knights.
Okay, that works. And that was a spicy chicken.
Yep. So what you're going to be seeing here, more than likely, depending on the level of magic that Prez has going into the final rooms here of the palace, is you might see a death abuse here, just to get a full magic refill, because there are several spells that you are going to want to cast when dealing with the penultimate boss here, Thunderbird, but there's going to be one spell you need to cast, which is Thunder. So in addition to casting Thunder, you're going to see the spells that want to be cast are Shield, Jump, and Reflect. So more than likely, when you get to this last bridge, you are going to be seeing a death abuse. And let's say hi to Boss Bot, everybody. I know the first time that I saw that scared the crap out of me. And there's the death abuse that we rightfully predicted. So that is going to give Prez a full set of magic and life to work with going into the Thunderbird fight, which is pretty much exactly where you want to be. So you're going to see the spells cast, as I said, Shield, Jump, Reflect, and Thunder. You might not see all of them cast, but those are the ones you're going to look at. There's Jump, there's Shield, there's Reflect, and Incoming Thunder.
Wait on casting Thunder.
Yes, don't cast it until you see Thunderbird on screen. Now. Well, not now, but you can see Thunderbird was red when we first saw him, and now Thunder turns him blue. Blue means Thunderbird is vulnerable. The Reflect spell allows you to block those fireballs he is shooting. The Jump spell allows you to get up to his height to kill him. And the Shield spell just increases your damage. That was actually a fairly decent Thunderbird fight there. Nothing to write home about, but nothing super, super trolly. So finally, we're going to be making our way to the final room in the game and the final boss in the game. I want everybody to say hello to Dark Link. So anybody who have horrible, horrible nightmares of the Water Palace or the Water Temple in Ocarina of Time, you might want to close your eyes now because this is not going to be for you. But Dark Link here is super easy to cheese. All you got to do is stand in the corner, duck, and stab non-stop. Eventually, you will stab your shadow to death.
No matter what attack level you're at, it deals the same damage.
Yep. And so that is going to be it for Dark Link. Prez is going to be clocking in with a time on his stream of 1:24:34. So Prez is going to be moving on here in the Zelda 2 100% All Keys tournament. Let me pull the bracket up here to see if I can tell you who he will be facing coming up in a minute. His opponent match might not have happened already, but
I got it right here.
He's going to be facing the winner of Opus and Breasticle, and they're going to be going off tomorrow night at 10 p.m. Eastern Time.
And Inzult will drop in the losers bracket to play. Let's see. Where's he going?
He'll be playing Highlander.
Ah, yep, there it is. Okay. I was scrolling on my phone, so it took a little longer.
Yep. Yeah, so very, very nice run there from Prez. I have the multi-twitch up, so I'm seeing Prez's camera. He's doing the arms above, Kermit the Frog flailing arms thing.
Yay!
Yay! Exactly. Meanwhile, you just saw Insults pick up the magic key here in New Kasuto Town. So he will be now picking up the final magic container of the game. And then he will be making his way to Palace 6, the Hidden Palace. I need to use my words better because I stumbled over a lot in that sentence. I hope I recovered nicely, and now I'm admitting that I did it. I'm a horrible person.
Yeah, you failed miserably. But anyway, and after you finish Zelda 2, you can actually do a New Game Plus in this. You start with your current spells, your current levels that you finished the game at, and also, I'm trying to think, there's one other thing, I think.
I don't know off the top of my head.
Yeah, I haven't messed much with New Game Plus, but yeah, you can pretty much cheese through the game again. It doesn't get any harder, unlike Zelda 1, where it gets really harder when you try another playthrough.
Yes, second quest. Yeah, you guys thought the first quest in Z1 was bad? Second one, much worse.
Inzult opting to use fire in here, so we get to see Fire Spell in the run.
Yep. Alright. Yes, the Fire Spell, those blue things are Tektites. And basically, Tektites in Z1 were fairly easy to kill. Tektites here 6 years later got a massive, massive upgrade. Apparently they evolved from 6 years to being little squishy baby gomas to big armored things that need fire to kill them. Evolution, buddy. Evolution.
On the Famicom Disk System version, that you actually can kill them with your sword.
Okay, that is a change to this one.
Mm-hmm.
So we get this game, which is super difficult, yet Mario The Lost Levels was too difficult for American audiences.
Yes, and it still is, but
Nintendo logic, people. Nintendo logic.
Okay, I didn't know what Inzult was doing. He was just chilling for a minute. I was like,
no, he was typing into the Speed Gamers chat, asking if basically asking about a dot forfeit.
Oh, I see. That's up to him.
Mm-hmm. Looks like he's continuing right now. getting the red jar drop off of the Iron Knuckle statue when he doesn't need it, because that's what the game tends to do. It'll give you everything you want when you don't need it. I love Prez in the chat copying, and I quote, "Only in a race with the two of us," referring to President Inzult, would the words, "Can I just stop?" appear.
Yeah. Oh no, Inzult missed the... We get to see the Infinite Pit.
Infinite Pit. Hope you guys enjoy the animation of falling.
Walk a little more. There you go. Now, you can... there's another interesting thing you can do with the pits and a glitch thing. You can, if you end up getting the ceiling walk, you can ferry into the ceiling, and it will glitch the game out just a bit.
So Palace 6 brings back our favorite 8-bit enemies, the Wizrobes. So yes, we go Palace 4, Wizrobes, Palace 5, Magos, Palace 6, back to Wizrobes, because Nintendo thinks we like enemies that teleport out of the way and we don't want to kill things. So Insult's falling off there and opting just to cast the jump spell.
See if he remembers where the pit is. Yep, okay. Hit every the block.
Alright, so again, if you didn't get enough of Rebanak before, we still have 2 more Rebanaks to go here. So this is the 5th Rebanak we'll be seeing here on the restream. And Rebanak is being super trolly again, while we're making a nice recovery of it. So that's a nice, a decently quick kill, not the super fast kill of Rebanak, but a nice kill. And here again is the final item of the game, the cross. Now here's a question. How come most of the time in a lot of these games that are ported over to America, any sort of religious references are taken out of the game, yet the cross is perfectly allowed here in Zelda 2? Does anybody have an answer for that?
Nintendo of America logic.
Okay, Nintendo logic, gotcha. Fair enough.
Oh, he better use fair. Oh, he almost fell in that pit. He ferried it the last second.
That was a very, very nice recovery there.
Excuse me, he does miss the jump over there. Oh, wow, getting really, really trolled there by the bubbles.
Press the head chat, the Nintendo America censors never got that far in the game.
Fair enough. Wow. Insult's having a very, very rough go, and he gets another death. Still has 2 more lives to play with, though. And again, decides he's going to just, randomly walk into a Wizrobe, because I know that's what I want to do. I'm exploring, horribly trap-filled death dungeons, and I want to go hug a Wizrobe.
Hey, could be beneficial.
How is hugging a Wizrobe beneficial?
Video game logic.
Okay, fair enough. Fair enough. So now we get to see more hot Infinite Pit action, but this time we're going to stop after 2 drops. And yes, to answer your question, is there a day where Wizrobes don't suck? Let's see. No, Wizrobes always suck no matter what. The only day... What?
Link to the Past are okay because they're really easy.
They still suck, though.
Okay, I'll give you that.
Mm-hmm. Wizrobes still suck. The only good Wizrobe is a dead Wizrobe. And, cake. Is Wizrobe hugging legal in the country where this race is hosted? I'm not sure if that is something that the Supreme Court has gotten to or not on their docket. So I don't know for sure. I do know there was a petition at one point to that Wizrobes are people too. But did you sign that petition? Because I certainly didn't.
Missed it. Okay. Inzult's making his way down to the required ferry to fight the boss. I can never say his name right, so I'm just going to call him the boss.
Rebanak?
Well, first he's got Rebanak.
Yeah,
No,
the
I
second
mean,
Rebanak.
I was talking about the Palace of the Boss.
Oh yeah, no, this is the second Rebanak.
Oh, that's right. You derp.
And so again, making fairly short work of the sixth and final Rebanak we have seen currently in this race. So for all of those of you, your favorite boss is Rebanak. Zelda 2 is like you guys. It also likes Rebanak. Lots and lots of Rebanak. And this is now what Cantaloupe was referring to here, the final fairy, making his way to the boss chambers, the boss Barba.
Barba. Okay.
Yes, or Volvagia, or really long-necked Fire Dragon of Doom.
I like that one for some reason. He's going for the yak hammer.
And gets part of it. I'm having a bit of a trouble here, although he is playing it slightly conservatively because he has... oh, wow. I'm going to say playing it slightly conservatively.
And he just ducked repeatedly. We know what that motion symbolizes, so we'll just leave it at that.
Yes. I'm not even going to go there, Loud Goat. That's hilarious, but I'm not going to go there. Opting to ferry over the bridge here, and the reason is because it's basically a free ferry, because whenever you take a magic level up, you get a free magic refill. So, free ferry to get over and not have to worry about the giant flying skeletal fish, or the river Zolas, which are the blue things. Those also require fire to defeat. Welcome again to the town of Old Kasuta, where you are going to get most powerful magic, the Thunder Spell. So now that we have finished our way through Palace 6 and obtained the Thunder Spell, we are going to be making our way through the final area of the game, the Valley of Death. Although apparently its Japanese name is the Valley of Discord. Now, while the Valley of Death sounds, very ominous and all that, the name Valley of Discord just sounds a lot more terrifying to me. Am I the only one who thinks that Valley of Discord sounds a whole lot more terrifying than Valley of Death?
I do agree with that. I do. I'm not a fan of Discord, so yes. Oh, there goes the fire spell again. Yay! Dead iguana.
Yep. So Prez in chat giving us a little bit of lessons on katakana Japanese. According to what Prez is saying, in katakana, dis and death are really similar sounding, so we don't actually know which one was meant. I'm going to say it was probably meant for Valley of Death as to reference Death Mountain, but I just like the name Valley of Discord so much better. It just sounds more ominous. Like, Valley of Death, you know what you're getting into when you get to the Valley of Death. It's going to probably be something big, scary, ugly, with lots of big, ugly, scary monsters. Valley of Discord, you have no idea what you're getting into. Is it going to be something with, Sonics? Is it going to be something with chaos? You don't know. Valley of Discord just leaves it open for much broader range of, hi, we're going to mess with you now.
Now, I think we'll see Inzult do really well in this section, and mainly because where he does a lot of any percent runs, he's ran through this section a lot, so we will see him really shine here.
Yes, Prez also making a good point that Dis, or Diz, depending on how you want to pronounce it, was the city above hell in the poem Dante's Inferno. So the Valley of Dis is also a really neat name. The only problem with that, Prez, is I don't know if there's a whole lot of people who would actually get that reference. But it is truly, I do agree, a really, really awesome name.
Well, there's also a level in the original Doom game that has that as well.
The original Doom game, that's something I haven't played in a while.
Yeah, there's a level called Dis. I believe, I can't remember what you fight there, but yes.
Insult's picking up the last encounter skip in the Valley of Death. Just has to make his way out of this cave alive, and he'll be fine because he'll be finally in the Great Palace, where if he happens to get another game over, he'll still just start at the beginning of the Great Palace. So, making his way through the cave into the Great Palace has to be at least somewhat of a relief for Insults here. So again, welcome here to the Great Palace, where we get a second helping of the most awesome music in the game. And considering what's going on here in the States over the next coming week, second helpings are always good. For those who don't know what I'm referencing, this coming Thursday here in the United States is Thanksgiving, where the biggest tradition is to gorge ourselves on way, way more food than we probably ever need. So second helpings of everything sounds great to me. So as Cantaloupe was saying, Insults does a lot of work with different versions of different runs of this game. So the one thing that is consistent in all the glitched categories is Palace 7. So Insults definitely knows what he's doing when it comes to Palace 7, and especially in the glitched categories, you're going through Palace 7 with a lot less level up enhancements. I know there's one category, for example, that your level ups are 252 when it comes to attack, magic, and life. So that's one of the things that's going to be happening. So look for a very, very solid Palace 7 or Great Palace here from Insults, just because of all the work he's done in other categories where you're going through with a lot less goodies to play with. Yep, so manages to block the giant flying red bird knight thing. Again, I'm horrible with some of these names, especially the names of the later enemies, so I'm just going to basically refer to them with what I see and what I want to call them as. So go ahead and troll me all you want, chat, because, well, you've been doing that already anyway. And yes, Pear, basically with Attack 2, you're not necessarily killing monsters with marshmallows, you're just offering them a sticky mouth substitute that will keep them from attacking you because they're too busy focusing on getting the marshmallow out of their teeth. Insults here, opting to try and get the red jar here, and does manage to get the red jar on his second try. Oh god, I like that. Loud Goat, that's really good. Calling him Scott Bicula. I am a huge fan of that pun.
Yeah, it takes a quantum leap to get past him.
Yep. The quantum leap that's being referred to here is the fact that those, or Scott Bicula there, can jump up to a total of 4 blocks high, or 5 blocks high, and throw his sword beams. Ouch. Insults with another death, but he still has the 1 life left. Pardon the reference here, still having 1 life left to live. Yeah, I went there, soap opera hype. So he, this blue bird knight here, or Scott Bicula, can jump up to 5 blocks high, or 4 blocks high, and throw the sword beams 5 blocks high. So the reason you see the speedrunners jump up there is to avoid him jumping on you and throwing his beams at you. So that is the rationale and the reason for taking the high road here in this room. However, in a situation like that where he just decides he's not going to want to play nicely, you can still opt to kill him, which is another option. Although you really don't see him dying too often, but it is an option. Highlander, I just typed to Highlander, so I'm saying all kinds of bad things. Basically, I'm really all confused here. Insults is now making its way through the tail end here of the Great Palace, another blue bird knight. As you see, actually making pretty good work of killing through that, and using the eye frames, or invincibility frames, after stabbing the enemy, the giant skull bubble there, to get past it. So this room here where you see Inzult stopping, there's a fairy here in the bottom, so you're going to see him go after the fairy here, just mainly because he doesn't have an extra life to spare. So he's getting the full life full here, simply because he can't do a death abuse on his way to Thunderbird, so this is where he has to get his refill to come up. So that's why you see him picking up the fairy here, whereas if he had an extra life to play with, he would more than likely just go down, and at the bridge you saw Prez do it, take the death bridge there. Death abuse. Wow, I cannot talk. Hi, boss bot. Bye, boss bot. So casting the life spell to get to full and taking the red jar, that's yes, depth of bridge, getting the red jar, so he's got full life and full magic for Thunderbird here. Insults opting to go, there is shield, there is jump, there is reflect, and Thunder will be coming momentarily here, and 1, 2, 3, there is Thunder. You will notice there that we had a chance to see Thunderbird in all of his full red sprited glory. There was a shroud over his face. The Thunder spell makes the shroud appear to actually attack his face, which is his weak point. And Insults there with a very, very nice T-Bird fight. And now we're going to be moving into the final fight of the game, Dark Link. So again, for those of you who still might have flashbacks to the Water Temple and Ocarina of Time, I still suggest you close your eyes. Still keep your ears open though, because you still want to listen to the end of the stream. So here is Dark Link, and Insult's going to just go take a park in the corner the same way. Or maybe not. He's opting to go one-on-one, mano-a-mano with Dark Link, not going for the cheesy strats. So this is the first time I've seen this strategy employed in this version of the fight. As Cantaloupe was saying earlier, you can, no matter what level attack you have, this fight always takes the same amount of hits. Inzi, again, like I said, opting to take the fight to Dark Link, so 3 more hits is going to do it. 2 more hits now on the Dark Link fight. Ooh, this is going to be really close now. Now Inzi opting to go corner strats. And getting killed here by Dark Link. So at this point, Insults, it looks, is probably going to hit the .forfeit button based on what I see in chat. So I'm not sure exactly. It's looking like he's not hitting the continue button. So that's what I'm gathering to see here. First off, Insults, great perseverance coming through after all the early game overs. So it was a very, very good way to persevere through that. So again, we do have Prez going on here in the tournament. But for those of you who are still itching for more Zelda 2 action, we still have 2 more races on the docket here tonight. So for those who haven't had their Zelda 2 itch scratched yet, coming up in actually about 13 minutes. 13 minutes from now at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, we have a race between Error72 and King Doll. That is going to be restreamed over on twitch.tv/opus614. And then at 9 p.m. Eastern Time, we do have another race. ACMLN is going to be taking on Feasel. So that's actually going to be restreamed right over on Feasel's channel, twitch.tv/Feasel. So Feasel doing all kinds of restreaming today, plus he's going to have to be doing some playing. So we have 2 more races going on for you tonight. We recommend you do your best to watch both of them. Get a multi-Twitch going at 9 o'clock so you can watch both Opus and Feasel and have all the Zelda 2 that your heart desires. In addition to that, if you still want more Zelda 2 action, we have 3 other races coming to you tomorrow. First one at 2 p.m. 3 p.m. Eastern Time. We have Simple Dude versus Paratroopa 1. Then at 6 p.m. Eastern Time, we have world record holder for this category, PresJPolk, taking on Dig Shake. And finally, the nightcap at 10 p.m. Eastern Time. As I've already mentioned, we have Opus versus Breasticle. Now, the winner of that Opus-Breasticle matchup will take on PresJPolk here in the next round. So that is pretty much all that we've got here. So again, another big shout outs for the crew over at twitch.tv/speedgaming for allowing us to utilize their fine channel to restream this race. Again, thank you, Feasel and Mythical and anybody else who was involved. So big shout outs for them. If you haven't followed the Speed Gaming channel, I suggest you do already, which apparently I hadn't yet, so I'm doing that right now. So again, after we're done here, go over to Opus and then Feasel's channel, watch yourself some more Zelda 2.
Sounds good to me.
So for I Am the Greenleaf Effect, for Can't Outfat Me and Feasel and the rest of the crew here, we wish you guys a good night, and we will see you soon.
Hasta luego.
Bye-bye.